In today's discussion, we're going to be talking about how to get donors. And I'm going to be walking you through 3 steps on how I think you can get more donors. Hi, I'm Brice Sokolowski, the founder of CatholicFundraiser.net, a website that is completely dedicated to helping Catholics just like you with their fundraising. Now, before we go into the whole discussion on how to get, and yes, I put quotes, you're going to learn why I put quotes in getting. Before we get into talking about how to get donors, I want to make sure that you've downloaded absolutely for free the 10 Commandments to Catholic Fundraising. This is a guide that I wrote myself on how to align your Catholic faith, your Catholic apostolate with fundraising. It's completely free. It's my 10 best recommendations. It's been downloaded by thousands of Catholics. I think it's going to help you with your fundraising. You're going to be able to find donors, you're going to find donations, and you're going to be able to move much more swiftly with your fundraising. So make sure that you download that free guide. The link is going to be right below. Okay, how to get donors. I use the quotes because, well, you don't really get donors. And I'm going to explain why this whole concept of getting them really doesn't connect actually with the Catholic faith. And if you just realign the way that you look at getting donors, I think you're going to be much, much more successful. So let's dive into my 3 recommendations on how to get more donors. And as I look at my notes, and you'll be able to get it if you go jump over to my website, you're going to be able to see everything that I'm looking at. It's all there. So there's a quote from St. Paul that is going to structure my discussion. And that quote comes from 1 Corinthians 3:6. I planted, Apollos watered, but God caused the growth. So again, it's I planted, Apollos watered, but God caused the growth. So this is my 3 steps for getting donors. Let's look at each one. Number 1, I planted. Before you ask anybody for a donation, you've got to plant something. And this means simply you've got to invite them to stay connected with your apostolate. You got to plant that initial seed. You got to invite them to be a part of your apostolate. Don't say, hey, my invitation is asking you for a donation. No, your invitation is you've got to somehow get them connected. How do you get them connected? The best way that I know is by getting their contact details. That's the seed for communicating. I'm going to get into a little bit more deeper on this whole concept of communication, but the invitation should be connect with my apostolate and follow us along on this great journey. So that is step 1 in getting donors, getting donations. Step 2 is this concept of Apollos watered. You plant the seed, now you got to water it. That means you got to communicate with them regularly. Share the good news, share the plans, speak to them. Most importantly, I want you to build a community. Don't worry about asking for a donation. Just worry about watering that seed. And I'm going to reference the Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraph 1879, which says the human person needs to live in a society. Society is not for him an extraneous addition, but a requirement of his nature. So we are required by our nature to live in a community. And that's why I was saying the first part, I planted, you've got to be communicating with people because you got to be building a community. It's a requirement. It's a requirement for your apostolate. It's a requirement for your vocation. And it's going to be a requirement for donations, which I'm going to explain now in step number 3. Step number 3, God caused the growth. So time and time again, I am amazed at what happens when you do your part, which is the planting and the watering, and then you allow God to do his part. God is going to inspire people to give, and he's able to inspire people to give when you've planted that seed and you're watering it so that way it starts blooming. Now, there's a key point here. I'm not telling you that you never do a direct ask and you just allow God to do it. It's not what I'm saying, but I am asking you to do your part in planting the seed, building the relationship so that way God can start inspiring them to really start thinking seriously about, hey, what's my role? What's my relationship with this organization? So that way, when you do ask, God has done that growth to the point that when you do ask them for a donation, they're going to say, you know what? I really like you. I think you're doing a good job. I do want to donate. So those are the 3 steps to quote unquote getting donors. You got to plant, you got to water, you got to allow God to do his part, and then you might be able to say the 4th part is actually asking. But overall, that's my 3 parts: plant, water, allow God to do the growth. I hope that's been helpful. Share this with a Catholic apostolate that you think might benefit from it. If you could benefit from more resources, make sure to visit over to CatholicFundraiser.net, download the free guide, and as well, after you download the free guide, you get an opportunity to ask me a question, which I might answer here on in my weekly article, or we could just connect one-on-one, and I could talk to you directly and help you with your fundraising. Anyways, I hope that's been helpful. God love you, and I look forward to speaking with you next week. Bye-bye.